Before I start introducing some lore, I just wanna explain a bit how the lore came to be. At the beginning of the franchise there was no lore, but Sakurai made some fun villains, but Shimamura, the other director, was weird. He directed the Dark Matter trilogy, Dream Course, Nightmare in Dreamland and Hypersony Aces game made by HAL, and all of these games excluding the Adventure remake and Dream Course had some pretty weird final bosses. At least in Hypersony it wasn't something that could not be expected from such a game. But well, there was no real lore, just some story elements. But after Aride Sakurai left HAL and Shimamura disappeared without anyone knowing anything about him, and the Kirby drought happened. But well, now to the source of the Kirby lore. In Kirby Aride there was Shinya Kumazaki employed as designer, and in the second game he worked in Canvas Curse. He also worked on the final boss of it and very likely also the story of the game. And soon he directed Superstar Ultra as the third game he worked on, and it went out as a success. So after that he was given the task to direct the game that was like 11 years in development and finish it in 1.5 years. And so RTDL happened and he is now the main director of the Kirby series. I could talk a lot more about Kumazaki, but it's a bit much, so here a short version. Kumazaki became the director of the Kirby series because of him working very well for the team and being a very motivational guy, and he likes putting in lore. So, now to lore itself, but a lot of lore disclaimer. The lore is built up on being a mystery, and a mystery is not made to be answered right away, which some people somehow don't have in their mind and think that lore not answering all questions is bad storytelling. Al taught the whole "Is Susie a robot?" thing was of course rather bad storytelling, yet the design is actually more to blame because they did it fitting to the atmosphere, and while working on a game and its story for more than 1 year, Noon notices that the average consumer could interpretate Susie as robot, and of course going a bit too high on drugs and basically making nothing in the game explainable for the sake of mystery is also going a bit too far. Clash Deluxe. But here's some ground things of the lore. The Ancients. We know nothing about them besides them creating some legendary artifacts, and that comes out of the mouth of someone that is being connected to lies. But still very likely that the Ancients are those guys that created things like the Master Crown, giant clockwork stars, and many more. The Mirror World. Clash Deluxe was like, oh, you know that mirror, let's make it extremely complicated. Lol, too complex for here, ask me later. Dark Matter. Because of VT we know more about them than the Ancients. Ancients were still the bigger mystery at all times. Void Termina is a being that can be created by positive or negative energy. In one description some negative feelings are listed and then they're referred to as the dark energy Highness collected. So basically, Void Termina is very likely a sum of emotions. But that's not all. This thing has some serious existence crisis. Void Termina is also referred to as the essence of chaos, and there's very interesting stuff on chaos in Greek mythology, so you should read up some of it on Wikipedia. https://nmwikipedia.org/chaos_cosmogony. The Master Crown. Very unknown about what it really is, as it got definite connection to dark matter and the crystal basically represents an eye. It also actually got wing textures in the first Megalar fight in VTS Fight. The crowns have actually 3D modeled wings and not textures that can barely seen. The crown can also be seen to change its form and color of the crystal in specific situations. Clockwork stars. Machines built to make wishes come true. Star Dream also seems to have had the purpose of becoming alive. The Gem Occult. With this I am referring to Highness and the Mages. Currently it's basically impossible to even understand any of Highness' backstory as it goes all over the place. But here's some stuff besides the giant lore dump Highness casually spits out because you shitty thing exist. As you might have noticed, I said Gemma instead of Gemba, which is because Gemma is the original word used and has actual meaning in the story, but they decided to not have it be translated because it's basically impossible to do. The fact of how the Gemma language is mixing multiple languages has definitely some importance. Star Allies also has multi-language song names. Song of Supplication is originally called Prayer Song to God, and a very important thing about the text is it's about Highness, not Void Termina, because who would be described as cold as ice and as hard as stone in spite of all three others did to have him return to not being an insane who plans on destroying all. I mean literally goddamn all. What the heck, Highness? Stop telling random kids you encounter that they should kill themselves for your god because their existence interferes your plan, after heartlessly telling one of the only persons who have helped you throughout this hard time that they are in your way, also by using the word gem, which can be twisted around so that the line is even more brutal, while not noticing the person is actually unconscious after trying to make those kids not interfere with your plan, and punching the person that is literally named that they are a help away. Crap, I used the wrong form of there once or twice in there. But let's continue forward. The text within Zan's ultimate choice description is actually for her theme, which is confirmed to be a private song and is called Forgotten Flash of Lightning. Original name is Japanese, also referencing how she and the other generals are basically forgotten by Highness. Another detail. The name Zen has the meaning of help, so as in Zen being a help. Yes, I researched name meanings on baby name websites. Now to the fun part. Highness theme names. First phase is Japanese and means something like puppet, dedication, counterfeit. The dedication can also mean offering, presentation, or obligation, and I am not too sure about the counterfeit. I have a feeling that the sacrifice theme name will also use that word, just that it means obligation or offering, and that. And oh boy, the second phase theme name, it gives a bit new information about Highness' backstory. It's called La Folia d'Amour in English. The Madness of Love. Yeah, it's messed up. There hasn't been a song name revealed about Void Termina's theme, but here's some trivia. In the Japanese song text, it's not Lord of Darkness but actually God of Destruction. The translations have Highness say Dark Lord, while originally he calls him God. With that in mind, the theme could very well be called Prayer Song to God, as God of Destruction can be shortened to God would fit, as VT's theme is basically Highness' song of supplication. So now a bit about light motifs. There's actually a part in Zan's theme that is the motif of Friendly Field, and there sure are some important lyrics at that part, we just don't know them yet. Just like how Highness' introduction theme is a creepy version of Friendly Field. Now to the ultimate boomer. The beginning and several other parts of VT's theme are Friendly Field, and that not as in the theme of the one fighting against VT. In the first phase it has the motif as the intro and one part in the middle as also ending with it. The second phase only uses the prayer motif, which is fitting to how that phase is called the true form of VT while not actually being it. But as the third phase is basically another version of the first one, it of course has it again with, but also with some more angelic motives mixed in at the Friendly Field parts. Important to note HERW is that it doesn't end with the motif how the first one does before it loops or goes on to the next song. The fourth phase continues where the previous one has left off, just with a more saddened tone, and then shifting into a great sad Friendly Field for the last time as if it were dying. And then it drops into the prayer/supplication motif, after which it turns into distorted green greens, or how I like to call the fourth movement of VT's theme. Chaotic chaos. After going through to green greens, it turns into the prayer motif again for some time before looping into green greens. Anything else I got? Oh yeah, Void Termina is implied to be genderless, with a male scream for phase 1 and female scream for phase 3. No, it's not a filtered version of Kirby's scream, and Kirby is also referred to as genderless in Japanese. Here it's not done as we don't have any proper pronouns or whatever. You can ask me about more if you want.